Hey everybody, welcome to the GMG review. Today I'm taking a look at Games Workshop's latest Codex supplement for the Space Marines, which is Codex Imperial Fists, with a cover with this handsome fellow with his face all torn up like Jigsaw from Punisher. Now this is a add-on to Codex Space Marines. You do have to have a copy of Codex Space Marines to do this. And this goes through the Imperial Fists, one of the first founding chapters of the Adeptus Astartes, as well as one of their successors, which is the Imperial Fists. No Black Templars, which I found weird. No High Marshal Helbrecht. No Sword Brethren. None of that. Just... maybe they get their own book someday? I don't know. It's just Imperial Fists. Imperial Fists and Crimson Fists. So what do we got in here? Well, we got all kinds of stuff. We got the usual sort of run through of who they are and what they do. So the Phalanx, which is their big fortress monastery floaty thing that is usually in the Terra system. The chapter organization, 1 through 10 companies, their armory and their chapter command, all their history, and then some bits and pieces about their successors, the Crimson Fists as well. Lots of nice color stuff. The Imperium Shield, if you want the TLDR version of the Imperial Fists, they're basically the defense dudes. They're the bright mirror image of the Iron Warriors, laying siege and like tearing down fortifications, or in their case, building fortifications. So they do a bit of both. They both destroy and build them. And Dorn was the architect of the defense of the Imperial Palace during the Horus Heresy. Or so they claim. I'm sure all the sub-drama that will come out in the Horus Heresy novels will prove me wrong. So anyway, I'm talking about the Phalanx, which is their big giant fortress monastery. It's like a bigger than Romelli's class star fort. It's a super class star fort, but they can fly around and go and shoot stuff basically. Owen was telling me actually there's a really good part in the BFG 2 video game at the beginning where like the Phalanx just shows up, just like obliterates everything nearby. You're like holding out basically like a last gasp or something, and the Phalanx just shows up and like just annihilates every ship on the map. So that was funny. The organization, all the company stuff, so the first company, second company, third company, fourth company, fifth company, sixth company, through 10th company. As always, there'll be a little blurb about what they're doing about the arrival of the Primaris Marines, the Rubicon Primaris, and all people that become that, and their history lesson too. And the Imperial Fist, sorry, the Crimson Fists, most famously depicted on the cover of Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader, the first edition of 40k. And their whole jam about Rin's world, their chapter monastery destroyed by Snagrod the Arch-Arsonist, try saying that fast, Arch-Arsonist, who's an Arc Warlord from Rogue Trader, who like basically a defense missile blows up their fortress monastery. And a handful of them go and actually like survive and do their best to fight a guerrilla war against the orcs. And that's why they're famous. It's basically what they're famous for, being the guys that didn't die. Some cool centerpiece art. I like this guy the best because I don't know if he's punched the head off of that Chaos Space Marine or if he's decided he's just going to pull it off, but whatever happened to that Chaos Space Marine, he is not walking that off. So, and then all kinds of like extra bits. You got Lysander here fighting a Chaos Lord, nondescript, probably Iron Warriors. Actually, it looks like it's Iron Warriors, yeah. And then there's some Marnius Calgar beating his chest and being like, look how cool I am, standing in the background, not fighting anybody. Good job. Our new character, because you gotta get a new character when we do new codex. It looks like each of these supplements is gonna come with at least one. And this one also dug up the classic Pedro Cantor model, which is a beautiful, I think, Juan Diaz miniature. I don't think it's just good one. I think it's Juan Diaz from mid-2000s. It's like 2007, 2008. I have one somewhere I painted. I think I painted him. I painted him for my Red Scorpions. My Red Scorpions didn't have rules. And he was my, because you could just use whatever rules then. I really should do that. I should do like a GMG Marine chapter, the Gamma, Mu Gamma, and do it on like Greek alphabet, and then I could just play any chapter I want. But Clarence would win then. I can't do that because Clarence did that. He had his Omni Marines, the Black Templar Angel Wolves, which I can't do. Anyway, Tor Garadon, Bastion of Defiance. He's basically the cooler version of Lysander now. Yeah, he's the one everyone's going to take because he makes guys nearby good. And then Pedro Cantor, the Praetorian Carmine, the Lord of the Crimson Fists. Lovely new plastics. He's got a really big punchy fist and a graviton gun, but mostly he just makes something nearby hit on twos. And everybody likes that. Everybody likes buffing their, whatever this floating, not the repulsor, the Exterminator. the big repulsor, the many guns repulsor, hitting on 2s, which would be super sweet. Some Primaris Marines. You get your onslaught cannons. And then, yeah, so any pictures of baby Marines in here? Oh, there's some. There's a baby Marine, baby Lysander, who did not undergo the Rubicon Primaris, I guess, and just gets his old miniature. And then some Terminators, who, you know, used to be cool because they had 2 wounds, but now just everybody has 2 wounds because Primaris guys get 2 wounds. Is there no pictures? No, we got some of these fellas. I mean, you could just say there's Primaris guys in those suits, I guess, really. Whatchamacallit, the big Centurions. Because who would really know? And then, is there any regular Space Marines in these pictures at all? In the background, maybe? Yeah, there you go. There's some back there, some Devastators. There you go. You guys still get to do stuff. Hang out in the background. Fill in the very far away. It's basically just the Terminator. And Pedro. Pedro's there. I really like Pedro. Although he did not also do the Rubicon Primaris, so sorry, Pedro. Colors some successors. We got the Crimson Fists, the Invaders. That's a neat. I like that one. The Excoriators, which is just like a fun name to say. There was an Excoriators novel that was pretty cool, actually. I remember reading. It was like there was like a one and done about the Excoriators. Maybe it was a short story. I can't remember it, but it was really good. It was like I think a chaplain of the Excoriators chapter. The Sons of the Phoenix. That doesn't even sound like an Imperial Fists thing. Iron Knights and the Hammers of Dorn. Like, at least the rest of them kind of all sound like they could be based on that, but that one sounds like it's going to be based on the Emperor's Children. The Sons of the Phoenix. Come on. Force of the Phalanx. Hey, look, a nice color section. And then we're into some rules. So not just like with the previous versions of this stuff, the Space Marine Codex supplements for the Iron Hands and the Raven Guard, and the Ultramarines and the White Scars. There's not a lot of rules. Like, you've got basically a couple new units. You have your unique chapter trait, the thing that makes you different from everybody else. You have what you get if you're a successor chapter. And then you have what you get if you're going to be using them as a primary for relics, warlord traits. You get some sub-warlord traits for the Crimson Fists in here. And then finally you get your stratagems and your psych powers. So let's jump into the new characters. We got Captain Lysander coming in at $130, Pedro Cantor at $150, and Tor Garradon at $140. Lysander, you used to be cool. Now you're just a really cool miniature. He is still one of the nicest. I think he's also Juan Diaz, actually. Space Marine sculpts, I think, ever. I have him converted up as a Raven Guard guy, just because I love the miniature and it was a really cool miniature. But yeah, move 5-inch move. He's just the same as he was, I'm pretty sure. 5-inch move, 2+2+, strength toughness 4, 6 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 9, and 2+ save. He's got his Fist Adorn, which is strength 10 because it's plus 6 strength, not double strength. And then AP -3 and damage 3. So it's just flat damage, big Thunderhammer. It's a big Thunderhammer. It's a super big Thunderhammer. And then he's got Angels of Death, Walking Fortress, 3+ invul, which, I mean, you could have just given his Storm Shield, but I guess he has it natively. Rites of Battle, reroll 1s. Teleport Strike, he's a Terminator. And then Icon of Obstinacy. This one feels like a cop-out. While morale test is taken for Imperial Fists unit within 6 inches of a model, no more than one model can flee. Just make him fearless. Like, come on, the guy was captured by Chaos forever, brought back, tortured by the Inquisition to make sure he wasn't tainted, and then, like, basically put back in charge of the first company. Just make him make people fearless. Terminators are fearless. Just make him make everybody fearless. Like, why one flees? That's I mean, that's like literally the only thing he has. Just make him make people fearless. I don't know. It seems like it's just like a rule that could have been cool, but then just isn't now. Pedro Cantor and Tor Garradon. So Tor Garradon, this is the one we're all going to take now. He has the mightiest of flat tops. Look at that flat top haircut. He is rocking Dorn's hairstyle like it's M31. He's movement 5, weapon skill, blitz skill 2+, strength 4, toughness 5, wound 7, 5 attacks, leadership 9, 3+ save. He only has a 3+, but he's got a 4+ invul. And he's got the grav gun. That's a grav gun. 18-inch range, rapid fire 1. Strength 5 -3, damage 1, gets damage D3 against armor saves of 3+ or better. And the Hand of Defiance, his Fisto Rubato, it's ×3 strength, so he's strength 12. -3 save, damage 3, but it is -1 to hit. It is a power fist still. Now what's cool about the Hand of Defiance though is, remember, if he's fighting a vehicle, it's been spoiled on Warhammer Community, so I'm not really skipping ahead here, but the unique trait for all of these guys is that when the Devastator Doctrine's active, they get +1 damage against vehicles and buildings, and he just has it all the time. He's a siege captain. His doesn't go away when the Devastator Doctrine goes away. So that thing's damage 4 against vehicles, which means he could walk up to a knight and potentially just do 20 wounds to it. Because it'd be damage 4, which would be bananas. I mean, he wouldn't get the 20 wounds there probably, but like that's a lot. That's a dead bit. It's dead most vehicles basically at 4 damage per hit. And then yeah, he's got the Angel of Death, Iron Halo, Rites of Battle, Virulus Ones. The Signum Array, he's a bit like Pharaohs. Whatever Iron Hands got, whatever ubiquitous Iron Hands guy who's just going to be in every army now has his Signum Array. So your shooting phase, you can select a friendly Imperial Fist unit within 3 inches. They both skills 2+ until the end of the phase. So he's going to just sit behind one of those exterminators or executioners, whatever they are, the big repulsor, and make it 2+ to hit. And then Siege Captain, like I said, he doesn't lose his +1 damage against vehicles and buildings, just all the time. And then he's Character Infantry, Mark 10 Gravis, Primaris Captain, Torgarden. And then we got Pedro, vote for Pedro. He's Pedro. They do have fixed, I should just mention, they do have fixed traits as well. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Pedro Cantor, 2+2+. He's a Chapter Master instead of a Captain, which is cool. Strength toughness 4, 6 wounds, 5 attacks, leadership 9, and a 2+ save. He's got Dorn's Arrow, a regular old Power Fist, and then Frag and Crack. Dorn's Arrow is just a cool Stormbolter. It's Assault 4, Strength 4, -1, 2 damage. It's like a Mastercrafted Stormbolter that always shoots 4 shots. And then he's Angel of Death, Chapter Master, so he reels all hits within 6. Oath of Rin. Add one of the attack characteristic of friendly Crimson Fist units within 6 into this model, and then an Iron Halo for a 4+ save. They're all pretty meat and potatoes. There's nothing like super, like, he's the coolest one just because of the Signum Array. And I mean, he does have a no shit Power Fist. Like if you get a vehicle too close to him, he's just gonna punch it to death, potentially with his Siege Captain role, making him damage 4. And the fact that he's Strength 12, because he's ×3 strength, meaning that he's wounding everything on 3s. Like there's nothing in the game he isn't wounding on 3s, even a building. Like even the toughness 10. I think Bastions are toughness 10. Maybe the big giant Angel of, like, what is the big angel one called? The Force Redemption. It's also maybe toughness 10. It's all on 3s. He wounds everything 3s, and he wounds toughness 6 vehicles on 2s, which is bonkers. I think it's like Orc trucks and stuff. He walks up and just wounds it on 2s. So there's all our characters. Sentinels of Terror. This is pretty much boilerplate. We've already seen Legacies of Dorn on the Warhammer community, but for those of you who missed it, it's when the Devastator Doctrine is active. When resolving attack with a heavy weapon by a model with this ability against a vehicle or building, add 1 to the damage characteristic of that weapon for the attack. So it only works on heavy weapons. It does make Torgarden's kind of unique because it works on his Power Fist. But you get +1 damage to all those guns. So it's a big screw to knights basically, and anybody else taking a vehicle heavy army. I guess the Iron Hands will hate it too, because the big jam right now on the internet is everyone losing their minds about the Iron Hands like being in every tournament like over the last weekend and coming like and like top 4 and like their main losses being as other Iron Hands players. Time will tell. I mean, we'll see. It's a really, really good army, but being +1 damage. The problem is the Iron Hands have a relic that just turns that off. So it's the 2 relics just count each other out. So there's no real benefit to the Iron Hands, but they also don't suffer the Legacy of Dorn problems either. And it still works, and the Iron Hands thing still works on every other gun, every other turn too. So it's pretty cool. That's really it. That's what they get. Successor chapter stuff, same as the other supplements. And then we're on to Warlord traits. So Captain Alexander has Indomitable, Torgarden has Siege Masters, and Pedro has Stoic Defender, which is one of the unique Crimson Fist ones. So we're going with Siege Master this is the one that Torgarden has. When resolving an attack made by a vehicle or, by this warlord against a building or vehicle, add 1 to the wound roll. So his little grav gun wounds at +1 to wound. So I mean, it's strength 5. So I guess it wins on 4s against like big things, which is cool. And I mean, I guess it makes his gun damage D3+1 against knights. I mean, he can plink some damage on knights. It's a cool ability. It's not nothing. Indomitable, when resolving an attack made by this warlord on unmodified wound roll of 1 to 3, always fails. So the best you can wound old Captain Alexander on is a 4+. I think that might have just been his rule before, and they just made it into a warlord trait. Because I do remember having something extra in the index. I just don't remember what it was. Fleet Master, you can do an herbal strike once per battle, basically if you don't move or fire weapons. So that's cool. I'm pretty sure it's just a Chapter Master ability in the Space Marine Codex still, though, isn't it? It might not be. don't remember. I'm pretty sure you can just do the orbital bombardment still, but it's like an extra orbital bombardment, I guess, if you're gonna take a Fleet Master. Stubborn Heroism. This warlord cannot fall back when resolving attack against this warlord. Have any damage inflicted, rounding up. That's pretty cool. I mean, half of all damage taken. Nobody's got that one that's named character though. Architect of War. When resolving an attack against a friendly Imperial Fist unit within 6 inches of this weapon, of this warlord, with a weapon with an arm penetration characteristic of -1. If that unit's receiving the benefit of cover, add an additional 1. So +2 for cover. This doesn't apply to saving throws though, or invulnerable saving throws. So basically, it offsets AP -1 when you're in cover and keeps your +1 save. Hand Adorned. Before the battle, if your army's battle forged, get an extra D3 command points. Sweet. And then Pedro Cantor's boys in the Crimson Fists get Refuse to Die. It's a 4+ come back to life with D3 wounds. Tenacious Opponent. When you choose this warlord to fight with, if there's at least 5 enemy models within 6 inches, add D3 to their attack characteristic until the end of the phase. And the Stoic Defender. Friendly Crimson Fist units have the Defenders of Humanity ability while they're within 6 inches of the warlord. If such a unit already has this ability, each model counts as 2 for the purpose of the ability. So basically, he makes everybody like auto-contest or auto-win objectives within 6, and then on top of that, if you're already a troop choice and you already have that ability, then you double the amount of models you have in the unit, which is pretty cool. And we're on to relics. So you get 6 just Imperial Fist relics, and of course you can always buy one in. There'll be a chapter, all of the chapters get this. You get a CP stratagem, or you can buy one of the gifts of the main chapter into the sub-chapter. And then you get your remaining ones that anybody can take, even your successor chapters. So the Spartan, it's a bolt pistol, heavy bolt pistol. It's 18-inch range pistol 2, strength 4, -3, 2 damage. And the weapon can target a character even if they're not the closest enemy unit. The Banner of Stiganda, Imperial Fist ancient model only when resolving attack with a melee weapon by a model of the Imperial Fist unit within 6 inches of a friendly model with this relic. Add 1 to their hit, so it's +1 hit for melee. The Eye of Hypnoth, Imperial Fist models only when resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon by a model an Imperial Fists unit that's within 6 of a friendly model with this relic. Reroll wound rolls of 1. 0 1s to wound. I mean, that's cool, but like you could just get yourself a lieutenant. I feel like that's not like a. I mean, I guess you could double down. You could have a captain do 2 jobs. That feels like the way you're gonna do that is just have an additional captain sit with like a big brick of stuff and then reroll 1s to wound as well. It's not completely within 6, just within 6, so that's handy. The Bones of Ozrak, Librarian. When a psych test is taken for a model of this relic, doing the Geokinesis discipline, because these guys like to break rocks with their brains, you can reroll the result. So if you didn't like it, you can manifest and reroll. Duty's Burden, Crimson Fist model with a mastercrafted auto bolt rifle or mastercrafted stalker bolt rifle only, it replaces it. This was given to Cantor by Robot Girly Man, and it's Duty's Burden, 30-inch range, rapid fire 2, strength 5, -2, 2 damage. That's a pretty cool gun. And then Fist of Vengeance, Crimson Fist with a Power Fist only. So what's interesting is that these two, actually, sorry, I guess you don't get 6 really for the Imperial Fist. I misspoke. You get 4 for them, and then 2 that are just for the Crimson Fist, and then these ones for all the other successors, because you can't actually get these ones on Imperial Fist. And your Crimson Fist Power Fist gets the following profile: ×2 strength, -3 to 3 damage, just not -1 to hit, which is cool, and it's flat 3 damage as opposed to D3. Special issue War Gear, Adamantine Mantle, so 5+ Wound Shrug, Artificer Armor 2+, 5+, Mastercraft Weapon +1 damage, becomes a relic, Digital Weapons, extra attack does mortal wound, Fists of Terra, you get another Power Fist basically, and it's ×2 -3 D3, make an additional attack when you fight, and no -1 to hit, which is pretty cool, it's a +1 attack. Gatebreaker bolts. These are neat. So instead of making a shot with a bolt weapon, you make whatever your normal number of shots is. You make a single shot, and if it hits, do D3 wound rolls, and they are resolved at AP -5 and damage characteristic 1. So if you use it on a heavy bolt weapon, potentially, while the Devastator Doctrine is active, you could double down and be damage 2, right? Because you're going to +1 damage for firing a vehicle, and do a single shot. So you can do a heavy stalker bolt rifle, shoot once, hit on 2 with the character, and then do D3 wound rolls at whatever your base strength is, but you're gonna get AP -5, which is handy. If you want to bust people with 2+ saves. The Auric Aquila, model with this relic is a 4+ invul. When a model with this relic would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound in the psych phase, get a 5+ shrug. And then Warden's Cuirass, add 1 to the wounds characteristic of a model with this relic. And that's all them relics. So we're on to stratagems. Or stratagems. So here we go. Number 1, Bitter Enmity. Use this stratagem in the fight phase when an Imperial Fist unit from your army is chosen to fight. Until the end of the phase, when resolving an attack with a melee weapon by a model in this unit against an Iron Warriors unit, you can reroll the hit roll and you can reroll the wound roll. Because they don't like their rivals. They're the dark mirror of the Imperium Fists. 1 CP for Bolstered Defenses. Use a stratagem at the start of your movement phase. Select 1 Imperial Fist infantry unit from your army that was entirely within a terrain feature. As long as that unit remains stationary and we're resolving an attack made against that unit, add 1 to their saving throw. So it's +2. Invulnerable saves are unaffected. You can only use this once per battle. But it's forever. Sappers. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase or the fight phase. When an Imperial Fist unit from your army is chosen to shoot or fight with, until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made by a model against a building, add 1 to the hit roll and 1 to the wound roll. So I mean, Sappers, cool. You gotta be fighting buildings. It's so not common. Number 1 CP for Pain as a Lesson. Use a stratagem in any phase. When an Imperial Fist unit from your army that's not a vehicle or servitor is chosen the target of enemy attack. Until the end of that phase, when a model in that unit would lose a wound roll, D6 on a 6 is not lost. 2 CPs for Close Range Bolter Fire. Use it in the shooting phase when an Imperial Fist unit from your army is chosen to shoot with. Until the end of that phase, bolt weapons have pistol instead of the normal type. So you can shoot them in melee, basically. 2 CPs for Bolter Drill. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase when you choose an Imperial Fist unit from your army to shoot with. Until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit with a bolt weapon, an unmodified hit roll of 6 gets an additional hit. Stubborn Defense for 2 CPs. Use a stratagem at the start of the battle. If an Imperial Fist warlord from your army is on the battlefield, until the end of the battle, you cannot discard Storm and Defend objectives, but you can achieve 1. But when you achieve 1, score an additional 1 VP. That's only for tactical objectives, so not super relevant. 2 CPs for Tank Hunters. Use the stratagem in your shooting phase or fight phase when you choose an Imperial Fist unit from your army to shoot or fight with. Select 1 enemy vehicle unit until the end of the phase. When resolving an attack from an Imperial Fist unit against that selected unit, add 1 to the wound roll. So +1 to wounds. You basically target somebody out to die. Again, a good anti-Knights Tank Hunters thing. So like first turn, Devastator Doctrine. Pick like the big scary knight that's, in range of most of your guns. And then repulsor it to death, I guess, with the big executioners. +1 damage. You get to add 1 to hit, so you're winning on 2s probably, or 3s. Champion of Blades for 1 CP. Use a stratagem after nominating a model drawn from an Imperial Fists etc. chapter to be your warlord. You can give 1 relic of the Fists to a character since you're by a relic. 1 CP for Sentinel of Terra. Use this, if you do replace the Imperial Fist in terms of fixed characters, yeah, so you can pick any one, actually. You can pick the Fist one or the Imperial, or the Crimson Fist ones, worth noting. Sentinel, that's right, and it's funny, at least they use some backgroundy stuff there. The Feast of Blades is when the Imperial Fists and their successors all get together and they have a fight. That's what it was. The Accelerator guy won the Feast of Blades. I can't remember what that book was called now. Yeah, that's a cool reason to have the relic, because they leave with a relic. Oh, he loses it. That's what it was. He loses the Lash of Dorn. There's like something he loses. He's the champion of the Feast of Blades. They give him a relic and he loses it. So it's a cool bit of background they put in there. That's a big whip. And he has a ball bearing instead of an eye. I remember like all these details from this story, but I don't remember the actual name of the book. It was good though. Sentinel of Terra. So use a stratagem after nominating an Imperial Fists character model that is not a named character to be your warlord. You can generate 1 additional warlord trait for them. This must be from the Imperial Fist warlord traits. All the warlord traits in your army must be different. Clearance protocols for 1 CP. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase when an Imperial Fist unit from your army is chosen to shoot with. Up to 10 models can use grenades instead of just 1. So that's cool. Not once per battle either. Is there anybody armed with all melta bombs? I don't think there is anymore. But that'd be cool if you could chuck 10 melta bombs. Praetorian's Wrath. Use a stratagem at the start of your movement phase if the Devastator Doctrine is active until the start of your next movement phase when resolving an attack made with a heavy or grenade weapon by an Imperial Fist model in your army. On an unmodified wound roll of 6, the armor penetration characteristic of that weapon is improved by 1 for the attack. You can only use a stratagem once per battle. So 2 CPs. But that's cool. You can get some better AP on a wound roll of 6. I guess that would be cool in the first turn. Maybe it's a lot of CPs though. It's 2 CPs for that. Yeah, it's 2 CPs for a first turn like extra AP, but it's still only a chance of it too. Nah, I don't know if it's worth it. If it was 1 CP, I'd say probably. The clearance protocols though, throwing 10 crack grenades, that could be worth it. 1 CP for Gift of the Phalanx. Use a stratagem before the battle. Select one Imperial Fist model from your army that has the word Sergeant, and they can get a relic. Hooray! 2 CPs for the Shield Unwavering. Use a stratagem at the end of your turn and select one Imperial Fist infantry unit from your army that's within 3 of objectives until the end of your next turn. Add one of the attack characteristic of models in that unit. When resolving an attack made against that unit, add one of their saving throw. So TCBs to try and like super hold an objective and die to a man. 1 CP for Slay the Tyrant. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase or in the fight phase. When a Crimson Fist unit from your army is chosen to shoot or fight with until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit against a character unit, add 1 to the hit roll. Go and kill that guy. Actually could be really handy again for fighting knights, because knight armies, most of them end up being characters because you open the vaults and buy all kinds of relics. So it's very, there's a lot of good stuff for fighting knights here. Not that I think knights are super popular per se, but like you tend to see a lot of them, and if you can kill a knight, there's a lot of good CP shenanigans, like between Slay the Tyrant and Tank Hunters. And I mean, it's not Praetorian's Wrath, it's just not worth it for 2 extra CPs. But that's 3 CPs for first turn, probably killing at least 1 knight. You can kill a knight a turn, you're gonna do okay against knights, and this army will definitely kill a knight a turn. And then finally, Hated Foe, because you're hitting on 2s all of a sudden, amazing. Hated Foe, use the stratagem in the shooting phase or the fight phase when a Crimson Fist unit from your army is chosen to shoot or fight with. Until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit against an orc unit, you can reroll the wound roll. And I should mention that those last 2, Slay the Tyrant and Hated Foe, are both Crimson Fists only. So you'd not be playing Imperial Fists if you're doing Slay the Tyrant. So not as useful for doubling down for fighting knights if you're doing Imperial Fists. And then Geokinesis, the discipline. Tectonic Purge has a warp charge of 6. If manifested until the end of your next psychic phase, when a charge roll is made by an enemy unit within 12, subtract 2 from the result. So make it harder to charge. I like this one, Rack and Ruin, warp charge 6. If manifested, select one building unit within 18 or enemy unit wholly within or on a terrain feature within 18. And visible, roll 9d6, adding 1 if the unit you selected was a building. For each 5+, take a mortal wound. So 96, it's 3 mortal wounds like statistically, but you could spike high. And all they have to be doing is standing on terrain. And it doesn't say it could be any unit. So like it could be anyone you could target. Because I'm pretty sure you can do it to like it doesn't, you can target characters with psych powers because it's not the closest. You could just pick up Gilliman and be like, here's 9d6 worth of mortal wounds, I guess. I'm pretty sure. Because it's only shooting attacks I think they're safe from. Iron Inferno, warp charge 6. If manifested, select 1 point in the battlefield within 18 invisible. Roll a d6 for each enemy unit within 6 of that point on a 4+ to take a mortal wound. Fortify, warp charge 4. If manifested, select 1 friendly Imperial Fist infantry or biker unit within model within 12. And that model regains d3 lost wounds. So you can heal somebody. That's pretty handy. Aspect of Stone has a warp charge value of 5. If manifested into the start of your next psychic phase, add 2 to the Psyker's strength and tough characteristics. You have a strength 6, toughness 6 Psyker. And then Chasm, warp charge 6. If manifested, select one enemy unit that cannot fly and it's within 18 invisible to the Psyker. Roll 2d6. If the result is less than the lowest move characteristic in that unit, it takes a mortal wound. If the result equals the move characteristic of that unit, it suffers a d3 mortal wounds. And if the result is greater than the lowest movement characteristic, it suffers 3 mortal wounds. And then what are our names? Oh, here we go. The Imperial Fist name generator. Let's do it. My Imperial Fist name is 36. First name, Jacaeus. Last name, 35. Atorius. Weird. And there it is. All done. Codex Supplement Imperial Fists. There's our look at the Sons of Dorn, basically, in Warhammer 40k. So, what do I think? It's no Iron Hands. I think it's a handy ability if it worked on everything. The ability to ignore move and fire penalties for the Iron Hands and their bonkers support character. Because the support character here affects 1 unit and has a pretty decent fight ability. You know, it can punch up pretty well and does an okay shot. I feel like you just need to do one thing really well as opposed to a couple of things pretty well. And he'd be as worthwhile as like Pharos is, but I think Pharos probably wins the new Primaris character race in the supplement books. The Imperial Fists ability to add damage doesn't really it doesn't really matter if you change doctrines, and it doesn't stop the things like the lodestone-y thing from the Iron Hands from just countering it, basically, which becomes neutral basically at that point. But still, I don't know. I think they're cool. They mostly work against buildings and vehicles, so if you're fighting against armies that don't have vehicles and buildings, you kind of lose out on your chapter trait because it's not ubiquitous. It works on a specific type of model. But there are lots of characterful stuff in here. I did like the fact like the Feast of Blades was explained as like the reason for why you can take a chapter relic. It's a good like homage to the Imperial Fists. I think they're going to be good. I don't think they're going to be fantastic. Definitely not as overall good as the Iron Hands crazy buffs were. The one thing I'm just disappointed with is there's no Black Templars in here. I don't know why there isn't Black Templars in here. There's a nice Black Templar model line. I don't feel like they didn't have the page count to do it. You could have just put in Helbrecht, Grimaldus, and the Emperor's Champion, and you would have had a whole other chapter in here, basically. Like they needed maybe 2 relics and because you could do like the Black Sword as a relic. Actually just get the Black Sword of the Emperor's Champion, because he'd be the one carrying it. And then have the Cenobite Cerberus, Grimaldus. Like if they don't want to do him in Finecast, I guess maybe they're just reducing the model line. But the Black Templars have been a big part of 40k for a while. And in fact, they were like, from the Armageddon campaign book in 3rd edition on, they were kind of like a primary chapter. Like they were a big deal. They were one of the most popular Space Marine chapters, I think, probably in 40k for a really long time. And that means there are probably quite a few Black Templar players out there, and this feels like it's, I don't know, like it just feels like it's a bit of a disservice. So I don't know. I'm a bit disappointed they're not in here. They're one of my favorite chapters. They have a cool background. I hope if the reason they're not in here is like they're getting their own book, awesome, perfect. If not, the Crimson Fists are in here. It seems weird they wouldn't be, but who knows? So anyway, we'll see. Maybe they'll get a web supplement. Maybe they'll get something on White Dwarf. Maybe they get a mini codex or something like that. Who knows? Maybe they get their own. Maybe that's the reason. And if it is, then I retract everything. You know, and I'm not disappointed anymore, because hopefully they'll do something for them. And if not, then that's just disappointing because they're cool models and a cool background and stuff. So there it is, my GMG review of the Codex Supplement Imperial Fist. Now, through a random act of fate, I have 2 of these. I have an extra copy of this. When this was shipped in, I got an extra copy of the Imperial Fist Codex instead of getting a copy of the Salamander's Codex. So because of a shipping error, I'm going to give one of these away because I don't need 2. And if you guys enjoyed this review and are excited about Imperial Fists, I will send you a Codex. So what I'm going to do is, I guess, I'll do it here. So yeah, if you like and subscribe this video, subscribe to the channel, and then just comment down below. There's a website where you can randomly pick comments. Just say, give me that book, and I will pick a commenter that says, give me that book, and yeah, just send you a message through YouTube, and we'll ship this sucker off. So, the random acts of fate or your good fortune, hopefully. I hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you for more GMG reviews in the future. Thanks, I'm Ash. Don't forget. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to support the channel, of course, like and subscribe and hit the little bell below so you get notifications when I post future content. I do post stuff 7 days a week. If you want to support the channel further, you can, of course, buy a t-shirt through Spreadshirts, buy a measuring gauge or objective markers from Death Ray Designs, or, of course, most importantly, there is Patreon. Patreon is what makes all this possible, keeps the lights on, pays for the studio costs, pays for the equipment, model costs, and everything else, and most importantly, puts food in my kids' bellies and a roof over their heads. Big thanks to everyone, past, future, who supported me. I do this stuff because of you guys, and of course, I will continue doing it as long as I can.